for STTs, Sports Time Track Days.
Nice, man.
So I know a couple guys over there. One of my teammates actually coaches novice for STT, and we had some fun down in Barber in November. So that's where my last track day was at.
I coach for them too.
Were you what region?
The South. I do Barber a lot. So I was at Barber probably in September, October. I did GNF there with Vera. Yeah, I did GNF. I raced a 600 class.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Before I was actually actively racing, I had a 2007 Yamaha R6 that I was hurting people's feelings with, and people swore up and down I was Motor America, and I'm like, no, I'm not. and I told them, I was like, dude, it's an old bike. I just know how to ride. Yeah. And it was just like, no, you got to have this, you got to have that. I had one guy spend, I think, like $450 to crack the crank.
Wow.
And literally spent the money to crack the crank, and saw that I was bone stock crank, bone stock, no shims, no nothing like that. I didn't double layer, nothing, none of the cheating things that people do. And it's kind of like maybe.
Yeah.
They didn't find nothing. So yeah.
Wow.
Man. What year was that? When were you racing that 07?
I stopped racing literally less than about 5 years ago. The bike was just, like I said, too old. I had, God bless him, I had my mechanic at the time, Michael Godin, who's now chief mechanic for Kayla Yakov, and that was my mechanic.
Yeah, he's my mechanic. Man, we share the same areas, the same people. Yeah.
I was telling Rex before, it's like, dude, when you get to that top tier people, it's very, very small circle.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael's my mechanic, and he was telling us, like, dude, when are you gonna do the vintage racing for Motor America and GNF? I was kind of like, stop playing. He's like, dude, one more year, and then this thing is 10 years old. You can race in the vintage race. And I'm like, okay, I need to get rid of it.
Well, man, race vintage.
Yeah, you got to race vintage.
Vintage. If you ever seen the race vintage in AMA, they race like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. They don't race like nothing. If it's EFI, you're not vintage. If you're carbureted with 110 wheels, that's vintage. So if I come up there with a 2007 Yamaha R6, they're gonna be like, get the
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do CCS Azra. They I think 06, 07 is their vintage. It's a classic, I think is what they call it. Maybe not vintage.
Yeah. And I was thinking about doing that. I was really thinking about doing this. Kind of like, I can do that. And he was just like, let me know and I'll set it up. He would set up the suspension, the engine, all that happy horse stuff. And it's kind of like, no.
Nice. All right, Shakes, your turn, man. Tell them about yourself. And
photographer, ride a real bike, the one with 8 hangers on it. Worked in the bike industry for 5 years, doing a lot of marketing. Known Rexy Fortyfive, man, maybe 30, maybe 40 years.
Something like that.
Just out here, man, just trying to make it all happen. Loved motorcycles. Hated them. Well, here's my life with motorcycles. Loved them. My mother wouldn't allow me to get one. She allowed me to get one at 40. Then I loved them. Turned 50. Hated them. And then Rexy said, don't be an idiot. Now I love them.
Yeah.
So,
that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Love-hate relationship.
Love-hate relationship.
That's what's up, man.
But yeah, I was completely dedicated to it, man. I remember one year I rode, for 5 years, I rode a motorcycle every single day. And I did that for 5 years. And if you know Massachusetts, you only get 2 months riding, but I worked at the motorcycle shop. So just been able to ride. I've ridden every bike on the planet. There hasn't been a bike I haven't ridden.
Wow.
Just going in through the warehouses, moving them, cleaning them, taking pictures of them. Yeah, I don't think, there isn't a brand on the planet that I haven't ridden, even from custom bikes to Big Dog and OCC Chopper to every Ducati on the planet besides the Panigale. Some of us can't afford that, but when I go down to Florida, I'll add the Panigale to my list of things I've ridden. The V4.
Check it off.
Check it off.
Exactly. Yeah.
You originally from New York, Bobby?
Nah, originally from England.
Okay.
The original York.
Wow. Born there?
Yeah, I was born in England. Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Born in England,
New
Jamaican
York.
parents.
What part you live in, Jordan?
Right now I'm living in East Atlanta, but I'm originally born and raised in Northeast Bronx, Co-op City, Boston Road, by the 2 and the 5 train, not too far from Co-op City. If anybody knows exactly
what part of
where
Atlanta,
it's at.
I'm in Atlanta. 12 miles from me, probably like Buford, Gainesville, somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
See what you done,
I'll tell you a little bit. I'm in real estate, so I do all the Metro Atlanta. Like I invest, I buy a lot of investment properties, sell them. So that's sort of what I do. Metro Atlanta. So I'm pretty well versed with that. But just to tell y'all both a little bit about me, because Rex knows a little bit. But I started riding probably in 2013. I got my first bike, took it up to the mountains a couple of times. For 1 month in, I think the first time up I went there, I threw it off a cliff, bought another bike. Did the same thing a year later. Eventually, I made my way to the track, and that's where everything just started taking off. So 2015, I think I got on the track. 2016, I started coaching for STT. And I think 2017, I did my first race. I did a race here and there. And then finally in 21, 22, I started racing seriously. I think 21, I did a full season of novice, got bumped to 22, and then I've been an expert since then. So it's been just an awesome journey, man, with this bike game. And you know how it is. Both of y'all know how it is. So
yeah, it's
nice. And he's trying to race Motor America as well. So
in racing, forget about it. Cancel Christmas.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to do Moto America this year, but it's just business has been taking so much. I can barely sleep now. It's crazy. Business is going crazy. Yeah, so I need to get my
guy. And let's jump right into it. What do you guys think about Cam Peterson getting that seat? And was it fair or unfair for him not to hold on to that seat in Moto America?
You don't want me to start the conversation.
No, I see you moving. I see you ready to go. So you might as well
go. I think he's a super fantastic rider. Cam, if you're watching this, return a phone call. I think he's a really good rider. For him to get into that team, you really have to show that you're committed, and you really have to be a consistent rider, which he has done that with Attack Yamaha. He's let the people know that whether it be on a 600 or 1,000, he could be on the top front. He could be leading the points. He could be leading the race. He can win a couple races. He can get everything that you need to get done. I would just kind of say that, not say he's injury prone, but, his couple of injuries that he's done has really kind of knocked him out to where, he could have been, looking at World Superbike teams, this year or even next year. But because of that, I think he's going to be stuck in Moto America like Tony Elias. Tony Elias, came from everywhere. He came from the top of the world, and now he was fighting for a championship before his retirement for the past 2 years. So I think Cam is, not say he's on his downward incline. I don't think so. But yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Jordan? What causes the injuries? Is it that he pushes the limits too hard, or bad mistakes?
His last two injuries were actually off the track. Cross training with dirt bikes and stuff like that. And he had some other surgeries and stuff like that, arm pump and stuff like that. But his last two was his hand and I think his leg or something like that he broke during cross training. So, if he keeps away from being injured, I think he's still a fantastic rider. I'm really glad that he's got a seat, because right about now, this past 2 years, to where if you're not with a team and you're not solidified in that team, you can cancel Christmas. And that goes to show that Schulte, when that team disbanded, he was the core of that team for 7 years, not even 5 years, 7 years. God bless Wes and everybody else and the Westby team. But yeah, he was the core rider for that team. And when they had to shut the team down, Schulte was like, where do I go? Where can I go? Because everybody else was already tied into contracts, or if not tied into riders for the next 2 years. And thankfully, he was able to get a team that needed a rider, that literally had everything, all the pieces, bits and pieces, and needed that one little piece. If not, Schulte would have been sitting on the street or sitting on a couch watching Cam Bobier and everybody else have fun, and as well as everybody in the 600 series, so I'm really glad that happened. But like I said, it's really tight. So I'm glad he got a seat.
Nice.
Cheetah 740, man. What are your thoughts?
On Cam, deserving, is that in the question? I think it is. I think he is deserving of it. His talents are there. Injury prone, possibly. I mean, Bobby, just going back to what you said. I mean, the injuries, man, if you know the sport, it's a game where you have to continue pushing the limits, and the limits just happen to be very dangerous in this sport. It's not like shooting a basketball. You miss a couple shots, you can keep shooting all day. You make a couple crashes, it's out for the season sometimes, and potentially career ending. So you have to be very careful. In the cross training, you have to continue to keep that level on the off season. So what are you doing in the off season? You're doing weird dirt riding. And you're out there cycling on the road, potentially risking your life in these cars. There's all sorts of risk involved in just being a high performance racer. And so I think when it comes down to it, the top of the top are the best of the best are the ones that can prevent the injury the most. Rossi was a prime example, how little he had really career threatening crashes. Right. And Marquez, right. So when it comes down to it, I think Cam is deserving, but not for how long. That's the question. I mean, what are you thinking, Rex?
Well, my thoughts are, I feel bad for the rest of the super sport field. You got PJ Jacobson, you got was it Schultz that won it last year, right? And now you got Cam Peterson. These are it's the equivalent of obviously Cam Bobier going to super sport. These guys should be on super bikes. You know what I mean? And so for the rest, for the guys in the back of the field and the women in the back of the field, I'm looking at it like, do I just save my money? Because it's going to be, I mean, we don't know, right? Because as we just mentioned, Cheetah, that, injuries and such, and those things can definitely kill a season. But if everybody's healthy, it's going to be hard to not see those three guys in the top 1, 2, 3 position fighting for that. And I felt that way when Schultz went there last year to Super Sport. And I get it, as a racer, if you don't have a seat in the class you want to be in, you gotta get in where you fit in. And so I get that. But we saw, I mean, that R6 shouldn't have done what it did last year. I mean, so what do you guys think?
Let me speak on that R6, by the way. If you guys saw, I forget his name, Track Days, his podcast with Attacks, what's his name?
The boss guy there.
Rich Rispoli. Not Rispoli.
Stamboli. Yeah, Stamboli, right? He was talking about the motors, and he was like, after the Road Atlanta race, Schultz came up to me and said, I need more juice. and Stamboli said, I got just a little bit more in there for you. I kidding. We got a little bit more in that thing. So they are pushing these motors to the limits, because the owner of that team, by the way, Bobby, did you just start following racing, by the way? Did you start getting into it? Yeah.
Start getting into it.
Yeah, man. So it's a lot to it. And the owner of that team it's called Strack Racing. Peter Strack. He's a multi 100 millionaire guy, entrepreneur that loves racing. And he brought his talents of organization and all that business into this.
Into the sport.
So you need someone like that to support a guy at the level of Schultz that doesn't want to pay to ride, right? He doesn't want to come in and pay $100,000 to be at the high level. He wants to get paid and have a salary. And there's only about 1%, 2% of the people on the paddock that gets that actually get a salary.
3 teams I can think of off the top of my head. 3 teams.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about if NBA was like that. 2 players on the team get paid, and the rest have to pay to play $150,000, $350,000, $600,000 a year to play. That'd be insane. So that's the name of the game.
So, but is it a foregone conclusion that one of these guys are gonna win the title this year?
Well, going back to that, man, those top 3 guys combined with these insane rules that basically make all these privateers have to pull out their checkbook with motors, with technology, with bikes. I mean, yeah, it's unfair in a way, man. Like we want
not even just pull out the checkbook. They really have to just throw the bank and everything at them. Because, like I said, you've got these super bike riders with top tier world championship skills that are racing against, not to say regular average people. I would dare to say Kayla Yakov and PJ is average. Mm-hmm. But to keep them honest at such a top tier level, you almost have to throw someone like Cam Peterson or Bobby Fong. Remember, Bobby Fong was actually 600 before he jumped back onto the Superbike again. Somebody like that to kind of let them know, okay, you're supposed to be at this level. I'm at this level, catch up. But yeah, to have the team or have the grid stacked like that, I mean, it helps a little bit, but then it's kind of like, somebody like me or anybody else will be like, dude, what am I doing? I just want to make the grid.
Right. Cheetah and John, I got a quick question. I got a novice question for you. You said that the suits now is costing $4,000. Like, could you just walk me through the difference between the suits? Like, why the suits so much, and what have they done to improve the suit for the new 2025 regulation?
Well,
I'm trying to learn.
What is it? Did you guys see the article where they just talked about mandatory airbag suits now?
That's what I was telling about before. Okay. Now it's mandatory for all Motor America riders. Okay. All Motor America riders to have airbags in their suits,
which is a good thing.
There's about 5.
And educate Bobby on how much an airbag suit normally costs.
I was about to go there. Literally about 5 companies, and Rex is actually wearing one of them right now. That comes standard with an airbag suit in them.
Wow!
So when you come with a suit that has an airbag with it, then you're not paying a couple of $100 off the rack. You have to get it custom made. That's going to be about $1,000 minimum. $1,000. You have to get all your sponsors, your logos, blah 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 blah, all that happy horse stuff. Depending on your contract, that's usually about another $2,000 to get it custom made and all that fun stuff. So just a regular suit that fits the FIM criteria, which Motor America stands under. ECE, which is the helmet and other things that we fall under with FIM. You're looking at just those 2 things. You can't be buying anything bargain. The Shoei helmet that I have, not the Shoei helmet, pardon me. The helmet that I ride cost me just under $1,000. And this is literally not any knockoff, anything that you can get from anywhere.
And don't drop it off a table.
Yeah.
You gotta buy a new one. You gotta buy a new one.
One drop.
You drop it anything. Yeah, you ain't lying. You drop it anything past 4 or 5 feet. It's a wrap.
It's done.
It's a wrap.
You ruined the helmet.
You may not think that it's done, but it's a hairline fracture that goes through the helmet that they can actually scan and be like, "Oop, your helmet's done." So getting back to the suit.
So they actually scan the helmets and stuff before.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So the suit itself has to be, form fitted, blah, 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 have all your logos, like this, all that fun stuff onto it. So that's minimum $2,000. And not to say any of the other companies that make these suits to that high of a level, just to get one of those suits, a Vega suit that Dianese has off the rack is $1,200 to $1,500. Mm-hmm. That's not an airbag.
Right.
If you want an airbag from just that one company that he's wearing right about now, starting price is $4,200.
Yeah.
If you want to get the matching AGV hat or helmet that goes along with it,
same thing.
That's another $1,200. So just the helmet and the suit, I'm not talking about the boots, that's $5,000. If you go with the boots also, which is ECE, FIM certified, yada, 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 that's another $800.
Yep.
And let me tell you all the level these guys go to real quick, because even a privateer coming with some money,
they have to meet.
My buddy Riston, who just got onto Cam Peterson's team, right? Last year's setup was so insane. I mean, I'm a guy as a real just amateur expert racer coming in with a couple spares. I go and see their setup. They have a maybe 40-foot trailer they're dragging with a built-in, cabin for them to sleep in. But most of the trailer is fitted with parts, spare parts. I'm talking 5 spare body kits. Each body kit is about, because this is Graves, by the way, so everything's double, right? Everything's double. So it's about $1,500 a piece, a set, right? They have about 5 helmets, each of these showies, because a couple of them have rain ready. They're sitting there ready to go with rain visors, right? So everything is set up for quick swaps, race. Let's go. They got about, it was 7 rear wheels and like 4 front wheels, because if they crash, they got to be ready to have another brand new one ready to go. This is not a joke. Like, their trailer is filled with about $500,000 worth of parts. It looks like, because they have a couple spare bikes. The suits you just talked about, he just came to Atlanta, flew to Dainese, came in from Asheville, and got 2 of them made for him, custom, right? So everything's just racking up for them every time they come around. We're a weekend, by the way, because he'd come to practice. They're buying 4 new fronts and 7 new rears for the weekend. I got 2 rears and 1 front. I'm like,
broke.
Man.
He's over there flying, and I'm over here on the weekend like, bro, this is a chill weekend. We're just, he's like, yeah, it's chill, man.
Yeah, it's serious. It gets serious. That's what I said. And this is the new rules and regulations that Motor America is meeting, because, like I said, they're with the FIM. FIM is Federal International Motorcycles. I'm not going to say it in Spanish because, anyway. So that is the level that we're trying to meet, because, thank goodness, the powers that be decided on taking AMA racing into a different direction and helping everybody like Cheetah and myself being able to get to that top tier level, so that we can hopefully eventually get our younger racers into MotoGP, World Superbike, British Superbike, everywhere in the world, because people still look at us like, we're little babies, but
Major League Soccer.
Cambodia raced with 8-time champion, but no one knows that. If you really look into the records in the history books, it's like, dude, he's right there, right next to Mark Marquez, and they're literally the same age, but no one knows that, because the level that we're at, we're not meeting that expectation. So it's expensive, but I mean, it's going to save a lot of lives. There's been a lot of deaths in the racing community the past 10 years that I remember, needless deaths, that hopefully we're able to learn from, grow from, and have our children. And you got kids, I don't know if you got kids, Rex got kids, you got to take care of them. So they're doing. It's expensive, but like Cheetah said, it's a dangerous sport. So I wouldn't want to see anybody lose their life, in a passion that I have, in a sport that I love, and a sport that we all kind of engage around. So if I break off a $6,000 suit.
What's interesting is some of these guys won't wear an airbag if they had the choice, because it's too hot.
Really?
Yeah. Some of these guys say, I don't want an airbag because it's too hot.
Yeah, dude, I don't care. I'll boil. Give me another bottle of water. I'd rather have my life.
Yeah, no. But you'd be surprised how many guys don't wear in Moto American airbag. Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't know if any of you guys crashed in an airbag suit. I did once, and I only want to wear airbag suits going forward if there's a crash, because it makes a world of difference. Granted, at the club level, I'm doing 8-lap races, maybe 17 if I'm doing an enduro race, or GTU or GTO or something like that. So, and I try not to race in July and August in the South if I can avoid it. But in Motor America, you don't have a choice. But that's interesting. Now, is it just a matter of changing of the times? Because obviously we see in MotoGP, some of these guys are in some hot places and they have the suits in and they're dealing with that. So is it a matter of just a mental thing where they just like it's too hot? Or I mean, we saw Jorge Martin couldn't do a press conference because he was so fatigued last year from the heat. Yeah. You know what I mean? So do you think the US is just kind of slow to getting on board with that? Or do you guys, is it just really like, okay, it's too hot? I mean, and again, I'd rather be too hot with an airbag suit than not and crash. But at that level, these guys and gals, crashing is part of it, I guess.
I want to say something really, really quick. When I was in Alabama, I was wearing one of my sponsor suits, and my fat little self was getting in the suit. It's just like, man, I wish I had an airbag in here, because this is my first time at Barber, and my first couple of laps going into turn 3, which is a big uphill right-hander, and I'm like, airbag. Yeah. And the next day, I low-sided in turn 4 going down the Charlotte's Web, and then I broke my collarbone because I didn't have an airbag. That was the only thing that happened to me that whole freaking weekend. And it's just like, damn it, airbag. I was saying to myself, airbag.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, airbags, I won't ride. I don't care if it's the street now. I'll wear an airbag.
Yeah.
Do you think that the separation between MotoGP and everybody else is just the fact that the top 1% is just going to deal with the heat, deal with the airbag, and just fight through it? Is it just like a mental thing? Like, listen, this is where I need to be. This is what I have to do, and I'll just wear it? Or is it just bad habits?
When you say separation, are you talking about talent? Are you talking about what separates them as far as the skill or talent?
No, just mentality.
Mentality?
Yeah, mentality.
No, I don't think heat is a big thing, but every racer you see on TV will suck it up. None of them are like going to whine too much about it, like maybe an amateur guy would, because it's just it's their hobby, right? But these guys are paid to do this and they have to perform. So most of those guys are going to come with the mindset of, I'm going to push, right? Unless they were handed it to them and they maybe have a silver spoon or something. But most of those guys are going to be, push past that. Sure, maybe at the GP level, much higher of a killer mindset in some of those guys, because you can see that with Marquez, pushes through injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think that's the big separating factor necessarily. Yeah, I think it's more so just skill overall. These kids have been trained in racing at a high level in Europe at like 3-4 years old, man. At a high level, they start at 6-7 years old. They're already racing, competing. And then they also, again, going back to the crashing, these are the kids that just happened to crash a little less than those other ones and didn't injure themselves to the point where dad said, cut it out. This is enough. Mom said, we got to send this kid to college, not to the hospital again. Right. So these Jorge Martin, Marquez, these are the ones that have funneled their way down and sifted them way through the pack to be at that level. So when you think about it like that, it's like even more power to them. It's crazy.
Yeah. When you say it like that, it makes me wonder if the whole thing should change a little bit, because you're right. Either you run out of money, or you have injuries and you can't continue on, and then the ones that are there are the ones that get the chance, and doesn't necessarily mean they're the best. They're the ones that lasted through the whole process of, as you mentioned, Cheetah, racing from 2-3 years old, or riding from 2-3 years old, to then get to the world stage, at 20, 21, 22 years old. And we see that a lot. Let's talk about MotoGP a little bit. What do you guys thought on the season coming up? Do you guys think that Marc Marquez is a foregone winner of the MotoGP this year? Because we did a poll on the YouTube channel, and there was a lot of people saying Marquez is going to run away with it. I will say it's his to lose, in the sense that last year Marquez didn't race like the previous years, in the sense of the previous years it was crash or go home or win. And he definitely, even the last race, he allowed Martin and Pecco to race, unlike what he did with Lorenzo and Rossi and himself some years back. Is it a foregone conclusion that's him, or who else do you see that can challenge him besides, I would say Pecco? Who else do you guys see that can challenge him?
Can I just get a quick shot in? Just
Yeah. Bobby,
quick
go
shot. Who does Marquez ride for?
Ducati.
Okay. That's all. That's
Yeah, he
all I
rides for
wanted to
Ducati
know.
now.
40 Rexy knows what I'm getting at. He knows what I'm getting at. That's all I wanted to know. I just want to be educated because all last year, me and Rex was going back and forth on this.
Was he LeBron going to the Heats, or KD going to the Suns, or Odell Beckham going to any team that has a chance to win?
And where did your guy go to again? What factory did your guy go to? Just for the record, because we're recording.
Who's my guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just reporting what I hear.
Aprilia, maybe?
Hey, Marty.
Aprilia, maybe?
He wanted to go to Ducati.
He had no choice.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to Ducati until you get to Ducati, and then you find out that you have to perform at an exceptionally high level. I mean, Casey Stoner kind of hit that in the head when he's just kind of like, when he won back-to-back, was kind of like, dude, he rode the bejesus out of that. Was it GP7?
Was it 2009?
Back when? 2009?
2009. I think he had a GP7, GP8.
Yeah.
Because if I remember, Rossi had the GP8, GP9, and he said it was undrivable.
Right.
Yeah. See, we tried to go to GP7. He tried.
And he had a horrible front end. And even everybody said it was a horrible front end, blah, blah, blah.
And he
So,
bailed.
I mean, until you actually get into the belly of the beast, dude, I mean, but I digress.
Let me ask a follow-up question, though. Who's the A rider now?
It hasn't been an A rider since the
No.
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 Bringing all the big names tonight.
No.
Say that again.
Pecco was definitely the A rider.
What did you say, 45? What did you say?
I said it hasn't been an A rider. They've been sharing data for the last 3-4 years, man. They all share the same data.
No. Pecco was the A rider last year. On Ducati, on the red Ducati.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to be there? Is it Pecco or Marquez? Who's going to get the secrets? Because if you go watch Marquez on Honda, the documentary he put out, he talks about how he said, I was an asshole. They would give me technology and I would hold it from Pedrosa. I tell him, don't give it to him.
Yeah.
Until he tested it and found out which one he wanted to keep, the one he had or the new one.
Right.
And he'd give him the one he didn't like.
Yeah. And again, from what Ducati is saying and from what the rider is saying, they all share the same data. And even Marquez says, I get to see all their data. So if we take what they're saying on face value, I think Ducati is sitting here saying, I'll let y'all fight for it. Right. And that's what we saw happen. It's kind of like, as a fan, we're sitting here saying Pecco, we're sitting here saying Martin, maybe Marquez, maybe Bastianini. But Ducati's like, no matter who wins, it's a Ducati. We still get the same money, right?
Right.
Yeah. What do you see happening, Rex? With is it a runaway train with 93, or is Pecco gonna?
I will say this. I think Pecco has a chance. He can't make the same amount of mistakes. He has to make at least half the mistakes he made this year to win. Yeah, half, and which means he has to win at least 15 races, because half the races he crashed out and he was leading, and he won like 11. So he has to win like 16 races to get back to championship, right? Which means, and the only person. It's safe to say the only brand that's going to be competitive is the Ducati. So it's going to be, okay, is it going to be Morbidelli? Is it going to be Di Giannantonio? Is it going to be Marquez? I'm Aldeguer and Alex Marquez, and who's the last one on the what am I missing? I feel like there's only 6 bikes now. Yeah, there's only 6 bikes now. My bad. So there's only 6 bikes now. So out of all 6 bikes, it's really, I think Morbidelli has a good chance, because I think he had a lot of bad luck last year on the bike, but he's on the bike again, same bike this year. So
he had a lot of mechanicals. He had a lot of mechanicals, if I remember right.
we'll say that it's his first year on a duck. We'll say mechanicals, but he had races he could have finished better and crashed out all on his own, accord. So I think he could be a dark horse. I think DeGen Antonio could be a dark horse, but it's one of those things where when you look at Marquez, Marquez is like a Rossi, Marquez is like LeBron James, and so forth. I mean, Pecco could be like that. We don't know because he got 3 world titles, 2 back-to-back. But he doesn't, Jordan was pretty significant when he came out. LeBron, maybe not Kobe as much, but Rossi, all these other guys, Pecco struggled for the first few years in MotoGP. You could say some of it was the bike. I think it was like a 2018, 2019 bike. You can say some of that, but he struggled. But I think Marquez, for somebody going on a new bike for the first year, outside of Rossi winning on that Yamaha when he left Honda. I think that Marquez came the closest to leaving a manufacturer, and he finished 3rd in the championship. So I think for him, I'm not a fan of him, and I have to say that because I'm talking like I'm a fan of Marquez. I'm not a fan of Marquez, but he's a very good rider, and he learned how to ride that bike. And like I said, from the last race, he probably could have finished 2nd, maybe even caused one of those guys to crash. And I think he didn't want to do that. So and we just saw what he did on the V2 and setting lap records and stuff like that. I think Morbidelli or Pecco can stop him. Maybe DeGen Antonio.
I almost agree with you. I think that Morbidelli is going to be more up front, and he just didn't have the confidence that I really wanted him to have. Certain places, the Red Bull Ring, where he was going fantastic, and all of a sudden he missed turn 3, missed turn 4, and just got in his head. Yeah. And next thing I know, I was like, dude, come on. Just go with it. There was another race that I saw where he was just kind of like, something was in his head. Like he wasn't there. He wasn't focused, or he wasn't there. And it's kind of like, okay, just park it. Just park it, get rid of it. Yeah. Marquez, I'm not a real fan of him 100%. I do like his riding style. I do like his riding skill. His saves are still amazing. Everybody still talks about him. I would say Pecco, solid rider, has a lot of experience, knows how to race. Same thing. When he misses a couple turns, he kind of fights back a little bit too much, and then he causes him to crash, or he loses the front. He loses the front a lot, and then next thing you know, it's kind of like then he's running away. I wish it was more of these guys would just get back on the bike and run, but their mindset is just, if I crash, I'm done. That's it, and just walk away.
Well, Jordan, why are you not a fan of Marquez? I'm curious.
Once he got onto the Honda, and it was a lot of hype behind him, and I understand that. And I thought that he was, not say he was going to be a flash in the pan. Just everybody flooded to him. And for me, I'm not a bandwagon type of guy. I just kind of like, okay, he's a good rider. He definitely deserved it. And he proved himself year after year after year after year, skipped a year, then a year again, that he's world champion. And other than that, it's kind of like, I just don't like jumping on anybody's bandwagon. I think he's a great rider. Just no Valentino Rossi.
That's why you come from a different era. That's what it is. Because I could see that happening with me too.
For me,
when the new Marquez comes out in like 15 years or something, and I'm a little older, and I'm like, I knew my guy. That's why
Pedro.
No, he's not no Marquez.
Pedro's got it, man. Pedro's got it.
Wasn't what they sought out to be. He's got it for sure. He's the one, but he hasn't shown that Neo yet. He's still the Keanu Reeves from before Neo. He became Neo.
Right.
So
yeah.
We know he's the one,
that
but
boy.
he
Give
hasn't
that
shown.
boy just a little bit of, not say a little bit of growth, a little bit of room to grow. But he's learning hand over fist. And the sad thing about it, he's making mistakes. He's making rookie mistakes, hand over fist. But besides that, I mean, the guy's got a lot of talent, and he'll definitely push that bike. I've seen him chatter the bejesus out of that front tire, and it's kind of like, dude, what are you doing? And then he just whoop. And I'm like, how did he do that?
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person where like I see them in the corner and I see them moving in front, tucking the front. I'm that type of guy. I'm like, what are you doing over there? Okay. Oh, he tucked the front, and I'm that guy. To where, if you make a mistake, I'm gonna scrutinize the bejesus out of it. But my favorite rider still El Diablo. You know, I wish he would get his self together and dude, just crank on, man. Just crank on. Just forget about it. Go. Don't do a Maverick and just go, man. Just go, because he's got it. He's still complaining about the motor not being underpowered, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, okay, more throttle.
Gotcha. Cheetah, you were saying about, different era. Is it really a different
the muted
era?
soap.
No, so I was actually interested in something a while back, and I wanted to see if I could. Can I share my screen here for a second?
I think you can. So why not?
Yeah. So here's what So what I see is like when you look at manufacturers, right? They always have a period they're really good, and then usually after 5 to 7 years, another manufacturer comes in. So a lot of times the star being on the right team is the full package, and then the people that are below him exponentially get worse. So they don't even have a chance to win. So let me see if I can share this. Share screen. Yeah, this right here. So on Wikipedia, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, good Lord. Wikipedia is the devil.
No, but look, like when you look at these years, you see kind of Honda, 97 to 500cc, and then MotoGP starts in 02, and then it's Honda, Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you see Yamaha really came in then, and then Honda came back really for, that's when Marquez came in.
Yes.
In 2013. 14, 15, he lost to, was it Lorenzo?
Well, he didn't lose to Lorenzo. He allowed Lorenzo to beat Rossi.
Okay, we're going to go to this conversation again. We're going to go to this conversation again. Really?
Yeah,
really?
Right.
We mute this mic.
We're going to
and there was controversy in Spaniard helping in Italian.
We saw it, man. We saw what happened. Come on.
But y'all see this, right? Y'all see how it's Honda. It was Yamaha before Rossi's era. It's Honda now, and then it's Ducati now.
Yeah.
So in probably it's got 2-3 more years, because here's the thing, guys, and I'll unshare this here. What happens when BMW and the rules change happen in 27?
27.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's when things get really interesting, because the CCs drop. Different manufacturers come in. I don't know who else is coming right now. I know BMW is set to come in, but do y'all know anyone else coming in?
I don't.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I think Suzuki was supposed to be doing something, but I haven't got any confirmation. But yeah, I would like to see Suzuki come back, because I remember they did that craziness at KRT a couple years ago. That was when they dropped the CCs back down to the same ones, 880. When they had the KRTs. So I think it was Suzuki was the other one.
I don't know. I'm a Ducati fanboy. I don't own one. But I would love to see them go on a 10-year run, because they're always ahead of everybody when it comes to technology. So I don't think the rule change should affect them at all. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. That's probably crazy, but usually when the rule change comes in, the factory dies out. But Ducati's always so ahead of everybody. I want to see a 10-year run, because when you really, it's probably the most overrated bike manufacturer ever, right? They should win every race, because they have the superior machine, and now they have the best rider. I want to see a Ducati run. I want to see 2030. That bike is still winning.
I mean, I mean, if you look at Cheetah's, if Cheetah would have had the first, second, and third, they had the points or who won the championship in MotoGP, what chassis was run in Moto 2, and I think he has something in Moto 3. But if you look at the first, second, and third, in I think this year's championship, I think last year's championship, it was Ducati.
Yeah. I will say this, Shakes. It's not always been Ducati, right? As we saw with that Cheetah was in MotoGP history, is probably been mostly Yamaha and Honda, right? And Casey in 2070. In 2007, gave Ducati something, and until then there was nothing. And then we just really, I mean, since Bagnaia in 2022, right? 2022 was the first thing. Other than that, was Yamaha or Honda. It's interesting because, like, it seems like MotoGP doesn't want Ducati to be dominant as Honda or Yamaha, because when Honda was struggling with Rossi, with Annoni, with Nicky Hayden, all these riders, Ducati didn't get the same contingencies that Yamaha and Honda is getting. And Yamaha and Honda is like Dallas, or the Celtics or the Lakers. It's not like it's a new team coming into the situation. So and we see that now with all the contingencies that Yamaha and Honda has. So I don't think they want to see that dynasty. And I think, I mean, fortunate for Ducati, they got that Audi money. And even when, Ducati was putting the wings on the bikes and all these things, they were clowning them until the bike started doing better. And then you saw all these other manufacturers had to play catch up and stuff like that. So to go back to Cheetah's question, whether, how will the rule changes affect the season or the new era coming up, I think BMW will struggle when they come into it, because it's a new series and it's going to be really hard to World Superbike and MotoGP are completely different. Even though, both bikes may be close in lap times on a track, the amount of money that they spend on these bikes
sorry to cut you off, but one uses really good tires and one uses prototype bikes. Alrighty, baby.
There you go. So I think that I hope Ducati figure it out, but I think it's going to be wide open when 2027 come, because it's whoever has their ish in order, right? Whoever has their ish in order, they're the ones that's going to jump out. Ducati's been really good to manage high horsepower bikes and get them to do the right things as far as the wings and the tech, as far as how the bike handles and stuff like that. But when the horsepower comes down and it's less tech, it gives the opponents a chance to come up. But Honda has long money and Yamaha has long money, so it's, as a fan, I'm gonna be very excited, but I can't sit here and tell you who's gonna come out. I feel like Ducati will win up, 25 and 26 championship, but 27, I think it's gonna be up in the air.
Bobby, you say you want Ducati to have a run, but man, it's so much fun when you see different manufacturers going at it, like all the colors mixing up in the front. You don't know what's gonna happen. Some of those races just get so crazy.
How could you say that when before that it's just two factories?
For the most part, that ends up happening. I
want, because remember when the VCO, when they got the V4 and it was just way too much power, killing everybody on the straightaway. Then they go into the turn, you have to put that thing in neutral to get around, because it's just so. You know what I mean? You're like, whoa, this thing's too powerful. I got to put it in neutral to coast through the turns. I believe that Ducati's the underdog, which is crazy when they sell $50,000 bikes. I know. It sounds crazy, but I want to see a damn run, man. I want to see a dynasty. I want to see dominance. I think they make the best bike. It was funny that you brought up BMW though. I was just on their website looking at their S1000. I'm like, not really impressed. Not really impressed. Like, what is your prototype going to be? Like, show me something.
And I think that's what Rex was talking about. It's like, not say apples and oranges, but the S1000 hasn't had the same development that Honda, Yamaha, and Ducati has have in the past 20 years. Their S1000 version has definitely had a big bump in the past couple of years. I remember a couple of guys in World Superbike, Scott Redding was talking about it was literally almost uncontrollable because it had so much power, and they're trying to adjust the traction control, and they're trying to adjust this back and forth. And they actually had some software from MotoGP that they was trying to integrate into the BMW. That's why they have like 8 computers just for the traction control alone. BMW, 8 computers, traction control. So just let that sink in for a minute. So now they get to the highest level of MotoGP, where, like you said, they could put $1 million into it, $1 billion into it, and no fine, no ballast weight that they have to adjust to with BSB and all the other criteria that they have to meet up with. So I mean, it's there, it's there, but they just need to trim it.
Yeah,
Bobby, about the Ducati run. If Cheetah pulls that up again, I mean, what they've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now, 6 championships in a row.
Yeah, they've won a lot. Let me see.
So they've only got like 2 or 3 more left before that dynasty is over, which will bring up to the 2027, and then hopefully, the
Ducati has 5 right here. Do y'all see the screen,
5.
by the way?
Yeah, 5.
They got 5 championships.
Right now, since 2020, they've won all of them, I guess. Wait, what?
No. 2020 can't be right.
That's not right then. Yeah, that's not right.
No, 2020 is not right.
Yeah, it's 22, 23, and 24.
Yeah, this is wrong.
2021 was
I told you that Wikipedia, man. That Wikipedia will get you.
Yeah.
Wikipedia will get you.
But this may be right. Most of these Hondas back in the day, man, they dominated.
Right. Yeah. It was mainly back in the 80s and 90s. It was pretty much just Honda and Yamaha that was pretty much battling it out. But like I said, and that's what I agree with Bobby. It's just like throwing that other, I could just say, monkey wrench in it and be like, hey, look at me. I can win races too. I can win championships too. Now that, like I said, they've got 6 bikes that's not, I'm not saying not competing against each other, but they're not watered down like the CRTs were a couple of years ago, battling for the same 6 feet of tarmac. What I'm still battling my head around is the sprint racing now. I kind of do like it, but I think I have to agree with a lot of the riders that it's taking a little bit too much toll, not just on the equipment, but taking too much toll on the riders. If they, I'm gonna say not back it down, but I think it's fun for the spectators to actually have extra racing that they get a chance to see. And for me, I like to see racing. I like to participate in as much as I can, but if I can see Marc Marquez and battling with Morbidelli and stuff like that, and not just one race for Saturday, one race on Sunday, I get a chance to see them race twice on Saturday and potentially 3 times on Sunday. Dude, where do I sign up at?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good, but I've heard the comments also on the other side. It's just like, dude, it's taking a toll on us as riders.
Right.
12 tracks. Now it's 15 tracks. You're doing
it's more than that now.
Well, no, I'm saying it's more than that now. So I mean, it's just you're going over 5 races because remember you got to do qualifying also. So qualifying is a race in itself. So you got to do like 7 races throughout the whole weekend. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's hypocritical. Oh, we're gonna drop the CC because we want less violence,
runaways.
Like
less runaway races.
Violence. Yeah, but we're gonna add more races with lower CC. I mean, it's 6 at one, half dozen in the other, right? You might as well just keep the horsepower and keep the track dates down instead of bringing the horsepower down a smidgen, but then add in all these races. And you know what they're gonna do? Eventually, they're just gonna keep on adding more races to generate more money. I mean, that's just nonsense.
That's what I think the sprint racing is. They just added that in to bring more advertising dollars, more people in the seats. They come on Saturday now more instead of just showing up on Sunday. More money spent around. I think it's because the riders didn't ask for that, right? It's always what are the audience how are we gonna get more money?
It's marketing. It's all marketing.
It's all because Liberty Media Group bought 80-something% of MotoGP, and they own Formula One, and they need a spectacle. And I've worked at enough companies now. When they bring in a finance guy, instead of looking around thinking that's a good opportunity, you have to look and go, okay, I think somebody's going to buy us.
Well, did you hear that, Rex? Did you look at that article where some other company offered like 200 million more?
Oh, no kidding.
Liberty did, and Liberty was a GP denied him. Dorna denied him. Yeah, they denied him because they wanted to go with Liberty.
Wow. Yeah. And I will say this from a fan perspective, seeing the sprint, like I've been fortunate enough to go to 3 MotoGP races. And when there was not a sprint race on Saturday, and while I enjoy qualifying and the practice and stuff like that, watching the sprint races, and just thinking if I was a fan there on a Saturday and I could only buy like a Saturday ticket, not a Sunday ticket, I get to see a race. And they've also cut down the practice times and stuff like that. And so per laps, I don't know how much has changed. But then when you look at World Superbike, these guys are doing 3 races in a weekend as well. Obviously, less laps and less horsepower, but nonetheless, they're doing less time. And so, I think from a fan perspective, it's really good. Maybe not from a rider perspective and stuff like that. But MotoGP has changed. We see there's a lot more younger riders coming in. We see that having younger riders coming in, that means these teams are paying out less money for these riders because you don't have to pay for a Pedrosa or a Rossi, or you're only paying for Marc Marquez. There's no other big name, and not to say, no disrespect to those other guys, but this guy got 8 titles. He's the equivalent of a Michael Jordan, a Valentino Rossi, Messi, all these top sports guys that we can think of. You know what I mean? So they're definitely cutting costs that way. But I want to go back to another thing we talked about, all the Ducatis and the different bikes. Let me throw the WCR, the Women Circuit Racing Series. They're on R7s only, and they're all on the same bike. And then you look at Moto E. Shout out to them because they're all on Ducatis, but they're all on the same bike as well. And when I watch those races, I don't go, man, it sucks that they're on the same bike. The cream rises to the top, and it's a lot. I think the WCR will change this year, and the years to come will get better as far as female faster riders from around the world. But we saw that the fast riders took off on those bikes and the slow riders were in the back. So I don't necessarily say, and again, I'm a fan of Ducati. So if they were all Ducatis on the track, I'm not going to be like the race is boring. But
what does that do to all these other manufacturers over time? Because technology trickles down from this racing scene, right? Because you don't get traction control until 5-8 years later. Right. They've already installed it in MotoGP back in early, and then they bring it now into 2000s on the Ducatis. So if that now, it makes other manufacturers not want to come in because Ducati is just so dominating. And why would Suzuki want to put their brand on there, spend millions of dollars if they're always never going to be shown on TV?
Because you believe you can. I mean, it's the same. It's the same reason why Ducati stayed, right? Because they were getting their butt kicked. You know what I'm saying? It's the same reason why Suzuki stayed, because they didn't. Yamaha and Honda, they've been eating for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got you got Suzuki.
Kawasaki wasn't getting no love. Yeah, Kawasaki wasn't getting no love for a long while.
And nobody said, "Hey, what about Ducati?" You know what I'm saying? Nobody said, hey, so I think, I don't know if Dorna and the whole group is biased. I don't know if they thought Ducati would have done what they did. I don't know if they thought that Ducati would change the culture of racing, because you saw KTM adopt it, you see Aprilia adopt it, and you see the Japanese manufacturers are slow to adopt it. So I don't know if they thought this would be happening, how it's happening, but I don't feel like it's a level playing field when it comes to all the manufacturers. Looking at it from the outside, obviously, because I don't. Rossi stopped returning my phone calls, so you know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's never going to be an equal level playing field because, like Sheikh said, just like he wanted to see. Well, not to say he's a fan of Ducati because they were winning championships. You know, he may have liked the design of them. He may
He's
have
a fan
liked
of Harleys and it's a twin. That's why he
Yeah.
likes Ducatis.
Come on.
He may have liked Ducatis for another reason. I'm not gonna go there.
Love the twin. Love the
But I
twin.
mean, they like you said before, they were actually pioneering a lot of things that has trickled down from MotoGP all the way down to the novice rider right about now.
Street riding.
To where, you know, the R7s actually have traction control.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Ducati and stuff like that, that would never happen. I think 2 years after, not even 2 years, I remember the whole shot device. Everyone hated the whole shot device. They're cheating. No, they can't have that. Blah, 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 blah. The next freaking year, what was everybody doing? The whole shot device.
Yep.
They probably bought it from him too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you almost have to. So I mean, Yamaha and everybody else is kind of like, well, get with it or get the step in. So I mean, it's all part of adapting and learning. And like I said, you jumping on the WRC, that was some good racing. If you've never seen back-to-back racing, or not say back-to-back racing, but racing that was pure.
Yeah.
Same bike, let the skill level rise to the top. Then you actually see who's fast, who's not, who can really play with the big dogs and who actually can't. That was a fantastic series. I didn't record it, but I shared it with my daughters every time they were racing. It's like, you got to watch it, you got to watch it, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
So hopefully things like that help pioneer and kind of stretch that out to not just women in Europe, women all over the country, women all over the world, and let them know that, you know, you can come enjoy what we've had the spoils for the last 60 years.
And I'll say this from a cost perspective, from what they said, it's costing them 25 grand to get the bike and to get it. And they were all sharing like mechanics and stuff like that. So, I mean, you know, they did figure out a way to keep costs down in a sense. Granted, you know, they're $9,000 bikes out the showroom, $10,000 bikes out the showroom versus, you know, super bikes or anything like that. But and I don't know like how much, you know, they may from crashing and stuff, what they may have to add and stuff like that. But, you know, if you're in Motor America and you have a 25 grand package, I think a lot of riders would sign up for that.
You're not going to get a lot, but yeah, I mean, you definitely would sign up for it because you get a chance to, whether you're racing up front with Cam and the rest of the guys and Jake and all that stuff, you're actually getting a chance to at least be a part of that with Motor America. So, I mean, I know plenty of people, Cheetah, myself, would definitely, you know, 25 grand here, take my money. As long as I'm able to even get on that grid, I'm fine with that. And I've seen some people on the other hand, I'm not gonna mention any names, in the 600 series, didn't quite make the grid. So that 25 grand that you're putting out, if you can't be up to that level, you're sitting down spectating like the rest of us.
Yeah. How cool would it be if like Moto America or MotoGP just put a bid out there to all the manufacturers and said, who could get us the lowest cost program for a like you said, the same bike all across the board. We'll make a separate program. You got GP, you got, you know, Moto 2. We'll just make a separate thing. Or Moto America.
Just did it. Kramer.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. So to do that in Moto America would be amazing, you know, and see if they could bring out a package like that. But that won't happen. You know, it's always money.
Well, no, I think that's what the Kramer program is about.
Really?
I'm hyping Motor America like I'm a gosh darn spokesperson for him. But I think that's what the Kramer program is about.
There's a Kramer program. I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, it's the 390 Kramer program they just brought out. I just saw Ashley. If I get a chance to, I'll try to see if I can share it on my page. And they actually have it out to where they want like the junior riders to actually be able to jump on this bike, which, like I said, is a couple of $1,000s, and it's almost pretty much ready to go, stock out the box. You're ready to go racing, and have a whole series around that. They just had it in Barber in November, so I got a chance to touch it and feel and stuff like that. And then they had the testing in October in I believe it was Coda. So that's what they're trying to do. They want to have a program to where the juniors and even us elder statesmen who may not have $100,000 or even $1 million in the bank, that can just, let me just throw this money into that and don't worry about it. But you can still race and be competitive and be part of the program.
Yeah, no, that's. I was going to say I'm from India originally, right? And that's how it is down there. Like,
really? No, I wouldn't have figured that. No, you're not.
No. Thailand, India. You go there, and Malaysia. There's these programs you can get on for $500. It's so cheap. They give you the bike, they give you the tires, they let you race. Everything's free. They ship the bikes there. They trailer them themselves there.
Wow.
And you just have to show up with a suit.
Wow.
And it's like cheap. It's super cheap. It'll be like, $300, $400 for a weekend. Talking with tires, everything included. You don't have to maintain the bike. You just show up. Like, imagine that.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah. No, I got a buddy that's going down there just to do that, because I got another buddy in India that has been trying to convince me to do that with him in Malaysia.
Wow.
But again, the bikes are also going to be like 250, 300, 400 cc like that. They're not going to be 600,000s, but the program's so cheap.
But that's where the skill level comes in. Like you said, that's where the skill level comes in. You don't need to have a leader bike if you don't know how to trail brake. You don't need a leader bike if you don't know how to apex right. You don't need a leader bike if you don't know how to square up right. I'm saying all this stuff. Like, if you've been racing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If it's over your head, it's kind of like, that's the reason why you start off with the 250s, the 300s, the 400s. Learn those skills. Learn how to trail brake. Learn how to lean. I'm trying to think of the right term. Lean, release, and brake, then gas. People don't understand that. They just, you just hit the throttle, you just go this, you just do that. And it's kind of like, no, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. It's not that, we make it look elegant. I haven't seen you race, Cheetah, but I mean, you look pretty slim guy. So I can imagine that you're bending elbows out there, skinning on a tarmac, but people who don't understand, it's just like, I'm a short guy. I'm like 5'6.5", 5'7". So when people ask me, they just show some pictures of me when I was at Black Hawk Farms, and I do. Why are you not dragging elbows? Like, dude, I'm 5'6.5". I don't drag elbows. I could be leaning heck the way off. I mean, my whole arm will be off the bike. I'll be leaning off the bike, and I'm still not grabbing an elbow. I'm not. Right. I just don't. I don't have the physical capability to that.
Yeah.
But Ben Spees, who's literally 5'10", 5'11", but he's got stupid long arms.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's able to do it.
I'm 6'2", so I do the same thing, just elbow
there
down.
You go.
But that doesn't mean it. It looks cool, but it doesn't mean much.
Yeah. What's that? Something like that for us to have a series from the 300s, 400s, 500s. People may not like it at first, but if they learn the basic skills of doing those things that, like I said, Mark Marquez, Martin, Fabio Quartararo, all these guys have been doing since 5-6 years old. Now it's second nature to them. And once you get to that level, then leader bike, drag elbow. Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. But average street rider, regular novice rider, they don't have any clue.
Jordan, let me ask you a quick question. So this is a different sport, but I'm going to try and tie it into this sport. So France came over to America to look at our AAU system to see how America is able to find poor talent. So they took our AAU system, they took it over to France, and that's how they're able to build their national soccer team. How is MotoGP going to continue to grow if they keep on pricing everybody out? This Kramer thing is that the future, to be able to find raw talent with no money, just how we're able to find raw talent in football and baseball and basketball? Is that what they're trying to do here? Is to see, because there's a lot of good riders out there, but they just ain't got the money. But is this a good step towards building, making more popularity for the sport?
Well, Shakes, before I let the other two add, I would say this. I think those sports have changed because you see, LeBron James kid coming out now into sports, Carmelo, Pippen, you know what I'm saying? Even Steph Curry, right? His dad played and so it is becoming more of an aristocrat type of sports now, because if you don't have the money or the finances, I don't care what sport you pick, it's gonna.
That's true.
The days of having a wicked jump shot, to quote Biggie Smalls, is not enough. You know what I'm saying? You need money behind you, and I would hope it would switch back to where a mom and pop or a kid who wants to do something can do it on his own merit. But it's really hard when you have Valentino Rossi having a VR46 Academy, and his people is who you're going to be racing against, and your peoples haven't raced at that top level. So I don't know where it's going, because it still seems like you need to have money to compete more so than ever before.
Okay.
For sure. Definitely continues to grow, man. That money, you got to bring money to this game. It's not a cheap sport. And that's why I think it's going to continue. You'll never see there's always going to be untapped potential out in this world because of that one factor. It's not like you just pick up a basketball or soccer ball, start playing, and then eventually get so good where somebody sees you. You don't get that opportunity unless you have money somewhere, somehow. Unfortunate truth of the sport.
I think that the Kramer situation is hopefully going to be just that. They did that with the 390s before with the KTMs, to where they actually had a KTM Cup. That actually started in Europe and Great Britain, to where they had the KTM Cup, and then they also had the Triple Cup, which they used to Triumphs, and they made that into a series. So they tried to kind of pick out those riders who were young, talented, maybe not had all the money, but like I said, those are the type of things that they was doing. CES, which is the European in Spain, they have a couple of series out there that they've been picking out for years and years and years. Marquez is part of that group. Not Cam Peterson, but I think it is Cam Peterson. Cam Beaubier, pardon me. Cam Beaubier was actually getting into that series when he was living out in Spain a couple of years ago, when he was very young, and he didn't make the cut because those kids are grown up on those tracks. They grew up and they have that network together also. So Marquez knew the Martins knew the Pedrosos, they knew each other. So by the time they get to the Junior Cup, the 250s and the 400s, I mean, they've rubbed elbows for years and years. So like I said, that's why Motor America is following the FIM and trying to get to that CES, that Italian Cup, to where the kids can literally rub elbows with the next generation and kind of get them up. But that's why they're trying to bring that cost down, so that you and I and everybody else can get their kids into there. And that brings me up to the Ride, Train, Race program. A great program that for any average person who is a female, they can get on a bike, which is literally less than $20,000. Buy it off the showroom floor. I think it's like $6,000. They get to build it themselves. They get to design it themselves. They get to train themselves, and they have a hand in all of it. Also, they have professional help also with the program, but that's part of getting our women into racing, getting them into sports, and keeping the traditions going for not just us, but for the rest of the world. And hopefully, like I said, we jump on this program as well as everybody else. But the build, train, race program with infield, and you can just literally go sign up with Motor America and find your local dealer. And within the next year, you can be building your own motorcycle, racing it at Barber Motorsports Park, New Jersey Motorsport Park. I don't think they did it in Coda. They just had MotoGP there, so they didn't do it there. But they did a whole bunch of other racetracks and get a chance to kickstart your training program if you want to get into road racing. I mean, it's great things to do that we, Motor America, and hopefully anybody else, we're a CCS, will kind of build on.
Right.
So that we can have multiple places for young adults, kids, older adults who want to get into racing or keep on racing at a high level.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, because when we look at the sales aspect, like the civilian part of motorcycle racing, it's an industry that's died 1% a year. So we're going to need a lot of motorcycle shops are going out of business. Harley's in trouble. A lot of these big, as we all know, KTM. So we've got to do something to create an organic street buzz to get people racing. We're not saying you're going to go MotoGP, but come on, man, let's go and hang out at the track.
Yeah,
build a community, because motorcycle riding is all about a community, and they need to really build that community, and then hopefully that community could transfer into sales, street bike sales, which then could transfer into finding the talent to maybe, man, hey, be great to see a MotoGP guy from Boston.
Yeah, I do.
Hey, I ain't mad about that. I ain't mad at all. As long as he's not wearing a Celtics jersey, we all good.
It's probably going to be green. The bike's probably going to be green.
Yeah, we'll let that slide.
No, I agree with you. It would be nice to see. It's been a while since an American has been in MotoGP. Nicky Hayden was the last. Joe Roberts and Cam, those guys got to Moto too. And you look at the 80s and early 90s, mid 90s. MotoGP was dominated by Americans. We're all on camera today, and none of us are American, but we all want to see American in MotoGP in the near future, as much as we love racing in the US. I think, I look at Loudon, Eric Woods, and Penguin School, and I think, you look at some of these organizations, I think they recognized this 4 or 5 years ago. That they needed to do something in America to start to build up racing again, and I think we're seeing the beginning stages of that. When you look at last year, what the what is that, the Barber series, Bagger series, my bad,
Bagger,
yeah,
and did for people coming to watch races, because there's not a lot of Cam Bobier's parents and a lot of these young kids, parents that want to get their kids into racing for financial reasons, but I think also the danger aspects of it, right? I think it's recently. So I think that decline that we saw, America has been on safety for years.
Well, motorcycling racing in general, man, the money's just not been pouring into it like it used to. I mean, Jordan, you probably know Thermos Man, right?
Yeah, no, Thermos Man.
Yeah, Thermos Man, good friends with him, man, for years. And we used to talk about back in the 90s racing, he used to tell me it was like money laundering, these companies. Like Kawasaki, they were paying out so much for, now I'm not talking Moto America, I'm talking Wera, guys like Wera. You don't pay Wera. Guys coming into Wera, you win something. And then AMA, oh my God, you're walking home rich that day, that weekend. 50 grand, 25 grand
40,
from,
50,
from Kawasaki or whoever else is paying out. Everyone was paying out back then. And they don't know why they were doing it, but they were doing it. And he says it'll never be like that again. But I don't see, maybe in the near future, 20 years, it could come back if the bike sales pick up and, interest comes back with all these programs bringing in women and affordable programs bring in maybe, it's all about just awareness. That's the big thing. People don't even know MotoGP exists.
Yeah.
They may get interested if there was like a Netflix series, like how they did for F1, right? They did something really high quality like that.
Well, remember, they did 3 of them. They actually did
not to that
not
level.
a Netflix movie, but
Yeah.
Amazon did a movie. I can't remember the name of it right about now. It's on the tip of my tongue. Amazon did a movie about which one?
No, it wasn't Amazon. It's on Amazon, but I don't think they did it. But I think they did something with Marquez like a couple of years ago.
There was a
GP
movie.
one. Yep. It's
There
a
was a
series.
movie on Amazon that depicted a racer on actually racing.
Yeah.
I can't remember
that one. Yeah, no. It's called my buddies were in it. They were in the movie.
That was last year recently. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Correct. So I mean, like I said, if we had more publicity highlighting the sport, of course you're gonna have and if it's a movie, of course you're gonna have your little sex scenes and blah blah blah. But the premise of it was motorcycle racing, and to the majority of it, who I did see a couple people in there. Eric Wood was in the movie. I saw him. A couple other guys who raced. We were in CCS. They were in it, and I was kind of like, "Hey, I raced against him." But like I said, if they had more here in the U.S., more publicity behind it, then I think there would be more people acknowledged about it. That's why I like Rex so much. It's kind of like, dude, I want to be able to talk motorcycles with people who understand what I'm saying, who have the same drive and passion the way I do. And it's just like, let's promote the bejesus out of it and get it out there so that people understand. It's just like when you see people on the road, you're not just thinking, oh, that derelict. You're thinking, that person is passionate about what he's doing. You may be passionate about knitting, about sewing, about decoration. You may be passionate about knitting booties. But this is our passion. This is our passion about going fast, hitting corners, hitting that apex, and that's going to be my next race team, hitting the apex. That's going to be the title for the next race team, hitting the apex.
Isn't that a movie or something?
I think so. It is. Yeah, I think so.
That's a movie, yeah. No, dude, talking about that movie that they shot that recently came out, I can't think of it's Amazon Prime movie. Bobby,
it's Amazon Prime movie. They shot it at Road Atlanta for like 3 days.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
They shot it at Road Atlanta.
I was there when they had the sets there, right? Because one of the races happened around that time. And they were paying my buddies like $2,000 a day for just to be in the movie, just to use their bike for a couple scenes. Because what it is the crazy thing is it got mixed reviews. It was kind of some corny scenes. And then, most car
one fast move.
Yeah,
one fast move. That's it. That's it.
So listen to this. My buddy that's in it, like me and him are neck and neck in racing all the time. Yeah. He was in the movie, and they needed certain color bikes, white, green, cowies. They needed certain bikes, so they used it. He was telling me the challenges of this thing because we're just from the outside, like it's kind of corny. They could have done something different. He's telling me the challenges. Each day to rent Road Atlanta is like 25, 30 grand, right? Wow. Already. Yeah. That's all up front. To shoot that scene that they had, you have a limited amount of hours in the daylight because it's daylight.
Right. Some up, some down.
1. 2, it's a crew of stunt riders, and then it's a crew of racers that were in the movie, by the way, shooting the same scene, right? The challenge was the director kept telling the guys, you got to make it look faster. So my guys, my racer buddies, would go faster. The stunt guys couldn't keep up.
Right.
So the stunt guys would now start backing it in, and they're like, it's not the same thing. So it was just a challenge that there's 500 people there at this one scene to shoot one scene. Glare, sun, one shot. It's a high performance scene. Director has to be like, no, we got to shoot that again. That takes another hour. Again. That takes another hour. Oh, someone missed the micro. That's the challenges. 500 people have to be in synchrony to get this one shot off in a limited amount of time frame while the budget's 30 grand a day.
Right.
So I understand now. It's not that easy to get that.
And it was for a low budget movie. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. It was definitely entertaining, and I don't have the insides that you had, but I recognize if they had an unlimited budget, it'll be Fast and Furious instead of one fast move, right? But I think it's good because we haven't had a motorcycle movie in a long time.
I mean, to add on to what you're saying, what did Fast and the Furious do to Honda Civics?
Exactly.
Right.
I said that earlier.
All those cars, the Mitsubishi Eclipse. Who wanted a Mitsubishi Eclipse before?
Nobody wanted one forever.
That could do that to bikes, right? In some way, the racing scene, even just bikes in general, man. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's
to add on. Hang on, Shake. To add on what you said about what Fast and Furious did. Honda had to catch up because they weren't fast. Mitsubishis weren't fast. Right. They had to catch up.
Yep. Yep.
They did sell a lot of NOS though.
Yeah. I mean, as a film guy, I think I hope they listen to us. They need to document, because stunt riders, I mean, I'm not shaming anybody, but anybody could jump out of a window in a stunt, right? You could grab any Joe Schmo to jump out of a window. But when you're shooting a movie, a motorcycle movie, a MotoGP movie, not everybody can hit that apex.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think that is, so if you're going to do something like that, if you want to help the sport and not kill it, because people who may watch and go, I'm not that, like riders be like, oh, that's crazy. I'm not, that's far-fetched. I think they should just document it. Just document it, because Marquez is going to hit the apex. I was supposed to hit the apex, and then there's going to be drama. It's going to be like the F1 movie.
I think what they did.
Fake.
I agree with you. Shakes. A couple years ago, I'm going to say something that I think everybody's going to agree with me on this one. That stupid movie Torque almost killed motorcycle racing and motorcycle riding altogether.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Talk, yeah.
That movie blew in every way, shape, form. And that stupid Y2K, which actually is a real motorcycle if you don't know anybody, it actually is a actual turbine motorcycle, works. No, it's not called Y2K, but is actually a working, active, real motorcycle. That is a turbine.
Yeah.
But that movie blew. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But like I said, but One Fast Move hopefully will get someone thinking outside the box, or get, like I said, like Shake said, get that ball rolling. It's kind of like, hey, we could do this better. We can do this longer, blah, blah, blah. And maybe we could go to more tracks, not just, Road A. Mm-hmm. We could probably go to Laguna. No, I can't go to Laguna because you got a noise ordinance. We can go to
Dakota. We go to Dakota.
I want to say something.
Dakota's $75,000 a day.
Oh.
And also the problem with movies is, as a motorcycle rider, track conditions change every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because you have oil leaking, you have debris, you have wind, you have rocks, you have leaves. All of that changes the track. Mm-hmm. So you've got to be out there. After each shoot, you got to sweep it down. It's just like Sons of Anarchy. The guy hung out with a 1% group for 5 years, then wrote the movie. So give it the authenticity. You can't do authenticity with motorcycle racing unless they're motorcycle racers.
It's tough.
I mean, even if you hang out with motorcycle racers, at least be able to, like I said, talk the talk. You may not be able to walk the walk, but at least you'll be able to learn the lingo. Myself and Cheetah can tell you, if you say 2 clicks softer, 2 clicks harder, we know what you're talking about. You say to somebody else and be like, 2 clicks what? And you know what I'm saying? And they don't understand. So
Dorothy,
speak that.
Dorothy,
yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to exclude you out, Rex. I don't mean to exclude you.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good.
As if Rex doesn't race.
Rex said he's not retired yet.
I'm not retired yet.
Rex needs 3 clicks to tell, not 2. Does he can't tell him 2?
Exactly. I have somebody that does that for me, so I don't have to think about it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I've seen it happen in real life.
Backing away. Here you go.
I show up and get on a bike and don't know what I'm doing.
What is that? Is that a summer 2025 Dainese edition you got on there? I don't know what you got, man. You got the nice shirt on, the green.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's not 25. I'm waiting for some stuff to come in the mail.
Yeah.
See, wait for stuff to come in the mail. See, Wayne got like that. He probably has Bobby Fong's number. I can't talk. I actually do have Bobby Fong's number.
I want to say something funny. Do y'all know this kid named Andy DeBrino?
Yeah, I know Andy DeBrino. Yeah,
racer. He's a pretty hooligans racer.
He rides K-Tech, right? K-Tech.
Yeah. One time I was playing Ride on the game online, and I was playing with Andy DeBrino, and Josh Heron was in the party as well. He was playing too, Ride. And I know Josh from like just meeting him at the Heron compound and talking to him like that and racing around.
I know. I got to talk to his mom.
So I just throw in I'm like, hey Josh, what? Because I was on the fence. I had a K-Tech setup for my Olin's K-Tech setup for my ZX6 last year.
Mm-hmm.
The year before, and last year I had Olin's. I went to FKRs, and it was just different. It was much smoother, more damping. The chatter. I'll show you some videos of later after we get off, but the chatter was insane on the ZX6. So I was sitting there asking Heron, I was like, what's better, man? Is it, is Olin's better or K-Tech better? And Debrino jumps in going, K-Tech's pretty good, man. K-Tech's, I don't see why K-Tech competes with the top of the Olin's. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, yeah, I agree. And then Josh goes, I mean, just look at Moto America and look at the Olin setup, the big tents they have, and look at K-Tech. They got a little Sprinter van. That should tell you everything. And then Andy and them got into an argument for the next 30 minutes, bro. I was like, I didn't mean to start that.
Different league, man.
Different league.
But Josh likes to start crap anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't know if anybody knows Josh Heron personally. I kind of know him. I'm not gonna say he's my best friend. I'm not, so don't think that. But I do know Josh pretty well. I hung out at his house multiple times. Me and him talked when he was just getting into Moto America at the time, AMA Pro with Graves Yamaha when he was 16 years old. So that being said, and I have pictures to prove it. So with that being said, it's I know he likes to start crap for any reason. Any reason.
He's the best, dude. You need a guy like that. That's the Conor McGregor of Moto America. If you don't have people like that, going back to the bikes, if every bike was the same color, audience couldn't tell who's who, right? So they got to have the numbers, they got to have the colors. It's sitting here talking with you guys. I mean, we're talking about business, Dorna and all this, and then we talk about movies, and then we talk about the riders itself. That's a full combination, because if the business doesn't get their money, then movies directors aren't going to be like, why would we direct a bike movie?
Yep.
Right? And these riders have to be characters. They have to be sellable, right? Marquez crashing, having 500 days off is sellable. That's what sells. So they promote the heck out of that. They make him take weird sort of looking photos of him with the shirt off, showing the scar and everything. I don't think he wanted to do that, right? So, you know what I mean? So they have to be sellable. Yeah, they have to be sellable.
Maybe some Instagram lovers.
Conor McGregor came in and, changed the whole sport.
Right.
If someone can come in, and I know, so one thing about MotoGP is they have to be very politically correct. The riders, they're trained to speak like NFL players. They have to be trained to speak well. They can't say weird things, but whenever they slip up and say some weird things,
it's the
man doesn't go controversial. The lead up to Bagnaia and Mark talking about it. Remember every little thing. Hey, do you guys? I noticed you guys don't follow each other on Instagram. An interview asked, I know what's up with that, and Bagnaia goes, I don't know, or some shit. He just some random thing, and Mark goes, maybe I'll follow him on the track first, and then we'll so he's humble about it. That sells. He's a character, right? Bagnaia, people, he's got this weird. It's a different character that sells too. So that combination, that's exponential dollars and exponential down the years as far as movies, more money, more technology, everything. So I love that we're talking about this. It's good.
It's good, man.
But yeah,
that's what I told Rex. Rex, I need to be on the show, man, because I need to talk all this stuff. Hey, tell him. Do I need to be on the show? I need to talk about all this stuff. Do I need to get this stuff out? I don't have a place to vent. This is my therapy.
Nice. We'll call it church on Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan, you are very knowledgeable. You too, Cheetah. Very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm just here for the color.
Me and Bobby will take care of the color.
Rex, did you ever make it to Barber? I know you wanted to go there.
I did make it to Barber. I went last October on R6.
Everybody went before me. You really?
Yeah. And
which organizer did you race there, or was it
track day with I think it's the same people you
SCT? I wasn't there that weekend. Yeah. I'm
so,
usually coaching with them. Yeah.
So no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I got probably 8,000 to 10,000 miles around that track.
Oh man,
on the low end, 8,000 miles. Probably the most ridden track I've been on. Yeah.
I have to say it's my favorite track that I've been on, and I've been to Pitt, and I've been to Daytona, and Road Atlanta, and yeah, Barber is my favorite track, and in Pitt, and maybe because I went to Pitt first, I wasn't used to the elevation, and the blind turns and stuff like that. Where after I went to pit, then when I got to Barbara and that happened, I was just kind of like, I was more comfortable. I felt more comfortable than the first time, and so I'm looking forward this year to going back to pit, and Barbara is on my list of tracks I'm going to do this year.
Yeah. What did you ride there? The R6 or the KTM? You got a
R6.
KTM, right?
Yeah, the R6. Yeah.
That's a perfect track for the R6, man.
Yeah,
I love that. What a ripper. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you guys are fortunate, man. Being, I mean, I'm not that far away versus when I was in Mass, but yeah, Barbara's a nice track.
What'd you run out there? Do you know what time you ran or anything?
No, it was a track. No, because I didn't have my solo lap time. It was on my KTM, which was in New Hampshire. I was just out there, just learning the track and having fun. It felt like I was getting faster and faster. But I also had gear in from Loudon, which is what am I running? 1547.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's real tall.
That'd be good. 1547.
1544, 1545.
No, this is real. Like Loudon is not even. It's a little over a mile. Loudon's like 1.2 miles, and the straightaway, you barely get up to like one. If you get up to 140, I don't care what bike you're on, 1,000 or whatever, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1547 should be right. Should be right.
Yeah. It's a lot of torque, and especially on the R6. But no, I definitely need to change. I was losing anytime I came off the gas. I was automatically just engine braking. So, but it was fine for my first time, and this year will be different.
Yeah, that track's really, you got to turn the engine braking down if you can in some way, higher gear, different sprockets, whatever you can do.
Yeah,
and coasting in a little bit. Just one thing you can do is like downshift a little later in the braking zone, but the faster you go, the less of a braking you don't get to do that the faster you go, because like when you're going in real fast, it's just bum bum bum. You don't have time to wait to downshift. Everything's so fast.
I if memory serves correct me, I think it's turn 3 where it's the slow. I think it's the slowest turn where you go left. After the straightaway, you go left,
right.
Two's the right.
2 and 3 go into one another, because when you come into turn 3, you're going up the hill.
4 is the crest over hill where you like you're going to lose the front, and then you straighten up a little bit and go in the downhill
for the sharp
braking. That's 5, 6, 7. Technically.
So I think between 5 and 6, where you go down and you go left. And you kind of alongside that. That's the biggest issue. I just couldn't find a good entry going in that felt comfortable. But outside of the rest,
I got a video breaking that down, man. That angle, the approach of that, because it's like, it's on my YouTube, the Cheetah 740 page. If you go in, it's like a triple apex. So if you take it kind of like a normal apex, you end up being around the curb too much.
Right.
So you have to clip the first apex, drift it out like a V.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
and then hit the third apex. Miss the second one almost. Yeah.
Okay.
So Cheetah, let me ask you a question. We're talking about Charlotte's Web right now. So when you're coming over the crest, I'm coming over the crest. I drift wide. I'm drifting from left to right. I don't really get to the candy stripe until I get to the 1. I see a lot of people kind of come over the crest, get over to the right, and then ride it.
Into Charlotte's Web?
Into Charlotte's.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? Because like I said, I don't
being
get
a part of the right in the braking zone.
Is that what you do? You ride the right?
No, I go towards it eventually, because like you go crest over 4, you're towards the left of the track while you're cresting as you crest up, then to the right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was kind of doing. I was kind of drifting wide left, let the bike settle, and then I'd eventually get over there. By the time I'm at 2, brake down to downshift 2, slowing down at 1, I'm over to the left on the arrow. And that's how I usually take it. And people's just kind of like, why are you doing that? It's just like, why am I going to ride the right and somebody cut my nose off? And I just kind of drifted off.
Well, my video breaks it down, but I broke it down eventually. Like, I was leading up to me getting into all this, the speed I gained. I was watching this one video Jake Gagne put out on a Barber. If you type in Jake Gagne Barber R6 video, It's like the one video where he's just got 2 camera angles and shows his foot. How he's a maniac, man. He's like using his rear brake everywhere. But his lines is what I designed my complete line set off of for barber. Then I got to a certain pace. I got to like my best was a 1 minute on my ZX636. I was 1 minute 30.08, and that was my best in a race. So I based my race video that I designed on YouTube off of that one video. So that does break down a good bit.
I don't have a lap timer when I was over there, like I said, because that was literally my first time on barber. So I was just kind of just learning the lines, and I figured that out from Charlotte's Web to just kind of let it drift out. And by the time I even start braking, people are already passing. I'm already passing people already, and it's kind of like, am I doing something crazier, or am I just like going too deep? But I kind of figured out they were just braking a little bit earlier than me, and then everything else was pretty much, I would say,
that's
pretty easy.
Turn 5 is my turn, man.
12 still gets me. 12 still gonna get me.
I don't know why. I'm like a deep breaker to begin with, but turn 5 and turn 10A at Road Atlanta, like 95% of guys I race with can't outbreak me there. I don't know why. They all say it to me too. Like in 5, I've outbreaked 3 people in like multiple laps, like in expert class. Like it's just happened. I don't know why. I can brake real late and then finish all my braking at the very last 25% faster than everyone else. Everyone else brakes a lot more pressure up front, and they're flowing. So this is like me going into the turn. This is them. This is me. I'm braking like this, and then they kind of like just. It's like I just somehow brake later. I don't know. I don't know. I figured it out after watching the videos. Like I was like, well, I don't know what I was doing, but it just works.
For turn 5 going up the hill, I don't think I do is I don't even really. I guess more engine brake than anything. I really don't use the brake too much, because once you come out of the snake, and then I just downshift 1 and then I shoot it out. I'm still kind of learning the best line for 10A. I guess I'm braking a little bit later because I'm down by 75, and that's why I usually brake at.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're by 75 or you may be by 50. You could be down by 50, but I'm down by 75. That's what I'm braking at.
I don't know. I'd have to see, but yeah, I'd have to see. I forget.
Okay.
Yeah, we're boring the heck out of Bobby. He's almost asleep there.
I'm watching.
Like 1s and 2s, fire gear up the hill. What?
No. I'm watching. Instead of looking at the camera, I'm like looking at y'all talking. It's like, wow.
Yeah. You gonna get on the track anytime? You got any plans for that, Bobby?
No.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. And
bring that ape hanger on, and we're going to be dragging pipes. Come on.
I've been trying since 2012.
You've been trying since 2012, and I don't know.
So you can drag them. I will just yank them out the bed and be like, "Come on,
let's go." I mean, I have a Vic. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking my Vic to the track. Absolutely, I ride my Vic on the track.
Come on.
It ain't for everyone. You know, I will say that.
I'm old. I'm old.
The Vic or the track.
Yeah, you said you're 50, Bobby? You said you're 50s already?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. You definitely don't look
I'm 50. I don't want to hear it. I'm 50. I don't want to hear it. So, once I get Bobby on the track with his bike, and he'll actually be able to understand the geometry of the bike and what it takes for him to actually carry speed. We talked about the bagger class, and be able to carry speed through there, scraping and at least scraping foot. And then he'll find out how safe it is. And he'll be like, I didn't think I could do that. I guarantee you that's exactly what he's going to say.
You know what qualifies you to be on the track? You have to be on the track. It's like the fact that you said you rode a bike every day for 1 year or something, 3 years.
5 years. 5 years.
5 years.
My bad. Yeah, that definitely qualifies you to be on the track. You love it. You'd absolutely love it. You'd be like, your perception of like every time you took a turn on the streets, you got a certain idea of how the bike works. Yeah. When you get on the track, you're gonna like, what? How come I feel so slow? It's your body releasing all the slowness out of you.
I mean, like, oh my God. I mean, I have the Vic. I definitely would throw the Vic on the track. I mean, I look like a flying squirrel. I mean, feet out, you know, I look crazy. But I mean, I would try it. Like, I don't know. Like, when it comes to motorcycles, I've gone really conservative. I used to ride no helmet. Like, I hate wearing a helmet. And Rex always used to say, like, you know, dress for the ride, not for the, you know what? Dress for the crash,
not for the ride.
For the ride. Yeah, man, I'm out there. No, I mean, there's a picture of me, like, all my videos.
For the ride.
Oh, yeah, man. No t-shirt, fat belly, cigar. Yeah, I don't know. But
he would be out in Sturgis. That's what his deal is.
Yeah.
As you see, he wants to hang out in Manhattan.
But I'll definitely take the Vic on the track this season. Absolutely.
All right. I got a KTM too, just in case.
That'd be dope.
My knees don't work. I can't do that.
You got rear sets on it?
Yeah, I mean, when I used to do the Yamaha demo days, where they'd be like, "Oh, here's the R6, and you're gonna go out riding with because you take the customers out around the neighborhood."
Yeah.
And they go with the Yamaha team, and I'm like, "You need forward pegs on this thing." Like, I mean, what are you doing? Why is my feet back? How come my feet ain't out like this? I mean, I need to ride a Yamaha R6, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just my knees don't work.
Y'all, man. I don't know about y'all. I'm 6'2". I make every bike look like a tricycle. Like when I drag knee, it looks like I'm dragging my other kney.
No.
I believe it.
It's crazy, man. Like, yeah.